we started the cloud engineering. Okay, so today what I will do, I will give some overview about that. What are things you have to know. Okay, then we'll go through in the each things as a step by step. Okay, so let me open this. Yeah, we'll start. Okay, so this is mainly going to be like what are things we already go through. Is I think few things we saw, right? So in that, like what are the main things we have to know? So what are the cloud service models? Okay, cloud service model is nothing but what are the services they are providing. So what kind of services? Okay, so what is the top level services? The infrastructure as a service. What is meant by infrastructure? What is meant by infrastructure?
Requirements of the project.
Okay. Is it infra? Components. What are the basic components? What are the base dependencies? So that means what are the hardware or software component you need? So like if I need to run my application, what are things I need? I need a one computer. In that computer, JDK must be there. From that only I can able to run my application, right? So those are the infrastructure. What are the things you need? Like you can manage the OS and the runtime application. Those things only, like services, storage, network, everything we need. So those are things that come under the IaaS. That is called as infrastructure as a service. Okay. Next one is a platform as a service. So what is meant by platform as a service?
It gives the platform to perform our
How it is differ from the infra?
like for example, if we take a house infrastructure like all the cupboards, all the big things, and platform as service is all the room.
Okay. So any other example? Try better. That is correct only. Try any other example. So infrastructure is nothing but like how task created a infrastructure. They managing some government management. They are offering some courses like how you are applied, how you are eligible, how you are now in here. You are learning the classes, right? How the things happen. So task create that infra. From that, who managing? Now we are managing. Can I skill that is managing that particular system, right? That is a platform. We are the platform. What is the task? Task is the infra. Understood? Okay. So if it is the infrastructure is nothing but they will give some raw things only, like that the machine only they will give, like that means that they will only give the computer, they don't OS, nothing will be there. We have to boot the OS. So who will boot the OS and set up everything we have to do. So what cloud mainly do, so if the infrastructure they will just give the computer only, apart from that nothing else. You have to manage the OS, application, everything you have to manage, okay. What those guys mainly managing networking and storage, because that is the basic infra. What are the hardware they are using? That is via internet only we are accessing, right? Those things is called as an infra. Okay. Now if it is come to the platform, what are things you mainly manage? You only focus on your application and data management. Apart from that, the infrastructure, how what are the OS you have to run, what is the management, can I use the latest OS or those things done by themselves. They will manage that one. They will give the platform. This is your platform. You can run your application directly. So what is our main work? I can run my application. That's it. So that means if I have the OS and everything is set up properly, if I write the code, I can run my application in my computer. Same thing. Next one is the software as a service. What is the software as a service? We don't do nothing. We will use a SaaS product. So most of the enterprise if you are doing, they will tell us a SaaS product. What is meant by SaaS product? SaaS is nothing but software as a service. So that means I will take care of everything. So you just give me your code. That's it. If you want to run, if you want to manage the things, if you want to do other things, if you want to do the payment, if you want to subscription, if you want to analytics, everything I can do. You just give me the code. That's it. Platform, that infra, how the scale and the scale down, everything they will take care. That is called as a SaaS, software as a service. Next one is a function as a service. Like it's one of the subset of the platform services. Okay, so you can write some particular functions only you can run. Rest of the things cloud providers will take care. Okay, here providers in the sense most of the places mentioned as a provider. Provider is nothing but that G Cloud, Google Cloud or AWS. Those guys only mean as the providers. Okay. Next one is the cloud deployment models. First one is the keep in your mind. This is a cloud services. Part of the cloud services model they are providing. Okay. This one is a cloud deployment models. Okay. There is a few kind of deployment models. One is a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid, multi-cloud. Okay. These are the things. Public cloud is nothing but you can able to share your entire infra to across your organization like that. Private cloud is nothing but dedicated to for one particular, like you have one top level company, like let's take example Meta. So Meta have the WhatsApp, YouTube, everything they only want, Instagram also, right? So how they are taking the any cloud providers, how they going to manage? Like a public cloud in the sense they take a one cloud, they will share to all other companies as well, because each one is a own separate company, one subset of the Meta, right? So like that they can do. That is called as a public cloud. If it's a private cloud, public cloud nothing but I can give the others. No, it won't be like that. Within the organization, how you are managing. If it's a private cloud, I will take separate providers for the YouTube, separate provider for WhatsApp, separate provider for Instagram, like that. Okay. Then hybrid in the sense both. If I can manage sometimes private, sometimes is few things is known as a public. That is a hybrid mode. So multi-cloud is nothing but like a how can I tell? This also like a kind of hybrid only. Like how Meta handling the cloud management, right? Like that they will restrict. Okay, this cloud YouTube only have access. You don't use it. The WhatsApp raise the access. No, it's not for you. It's only for these guys. So that is called as a multi-cloud. Okay. So these are the cloud deployment models. Okay. Now I am telling just a top level only. We will go to the each things. Okay. So what are the major key cloud concept we have to know? First one is the region and availability zones. So it's nothing but let's assume you have your machine, your application was running here. Okay. If I am trying to access this one, like everything connected this router, how much fast it is. I just sit on next to the 3 blocks. Next onwards, if I am sitting, I try to access this one will be bit slow. Why? Because the connection communication will be bit slow. So this is the actual things happen to your application also in the cloud. If you are focused, your application mainly you completed and you want to deploy that main user base going to the India, deploy your application in the India region. Okay, am I recording?
Yes,
Sir. So mainly deploy in the India. Okay, if you want to your main focus in the US, deploy the server in the US region. So we have to check the region and how it is the availability zones. So that means why, because if you are deployed your application into the US, but if your entire user base using in the India, there is no purpose. If it is the user is a high availability zone also, there will be the delay. Why? Because your each India request has to go to the US server. Then from there only it will return the response. Okay. Then was the edge location. Edge location is nothing but like in your application you have any static files or dynamic files you are loading. You are loading some animation. Those things, if you are instead of you are taking from your application server, you can load from the CDN. CDN, what is meant by CDN? Last time I explained. What is that? Hmm? What is CDN? DNS?
Domain name
What about the CDN? Content? Okay, so this is a major purpose of the content delivery. What it will do actually, so it have some static files, some videos you want to render, you can render from the CDN. So that is one of the providers. You can store your files there, but you can render as much as fast. Why? Because loading the file from your local machine, that will be bit slow compared than the server loading. Okay. The next one is the elasticity and the scalability. So this is mainly how your application can able to increase the load. I can able to add the resource. Nowadays, all the providers are supporting this one, so not a big deal. SAD responsibility models. This one, okay, this one is not mainly required. These are the three things. If you know a major key concept, these things is enough. Okay, SAD responsibility is nothing but if you have the cloud management. Okay, let me show some example as well. So if you guys take any one subscription, you can able to share that cloud to other guys also. Like if you no need to take everyone as an individual. So like if you want to take the only one cloud providers also, you can able to share to other guys. So where you can control in the GCP, it's come under the IAM admin and the rules. Okay. So let's take example here. Yeah, this is my ID. Like what are the access I have? So like that. So I am the editor of this entire cloud manager. I can do anything whatever I want. So like that, I will give some other guys also what is their access. Everything I can do that. Okay. So this is some service account access. They can only access the SQL and the storage object like that only. So you can able to give the access. Okay. This is you can manage the responsibility of the each guys using that cloud. Okay. Okay, fine. So here the things is AWS such GCP. So I didn't bring the Azure here. So these are the major competitors. Azure also nowadays they are also doing something. But this is the things like so what are the major things you have to know in the cloud? First one is the VM. So VM is nothing but first you have to know the clear idea about the machine. So you want to run the any code, you have to know about the laptop. What is the laptop configuration? Everything you have to know. Next, you have to know the JDK, how to download, how to install, how can I set up that. Next one is the how to write the code. These are the flows. Like that in the cloud also. First one is the your basic infra. What is the basic infra here? As a machine. That is called as a virtual machine. In AWS they are calling as the Elastic Compute Cloud. That is meant by EC2. Okay. In the GCP this is directly called as a compute engine. Okay. So in the containers, like in the AWS, they will tell Elastic Compute Services and Kubernetes, it differs. Okay. In the GCP also, like Google Kubernetes engine and the Cloud Run. So I already explained what is the mean by Cloud Run as a serverless services. Okay. These containers is nothing but how you going to manage your application. If we are using the Docker, right? So I explained the Kubernetes as well, like that. So how you are going to manage your containers. So this is the name, like each products they have some particular name. But backend you are checking, the core thing will be here. It's called as a virtual machine. They are calling as a compute engine. I think that they are going to give the just a machine. That's it. But they will keep some different name. Okay. So next one is the serverless things. Here they have the lambda function. Here we have something it's called as a different as a cloud functions. Okay. So in the serverless you can bring cloud and also under the serverless deployment. Okay. Next one is the object storing. Object storing in AWS they are telling S3. S3 is nothing but simple storage service. Okay, that is called as S3 in the AWS. Here in the cloud, they will tell directly cloud storage. Okay, in the block storage, that is the things that here is just a persistent disk. These are the relational database management. They are telling us RDS. Here cloud SQL, RIDB, spanner. So like that, what are the database they are providing? Like locally we are configuring the database and everything, right? Using the Docker file. So if we are using the cloud also, they will provide the database. You can use the database. So what is the major advantage if I am going to get from that? Like in case I can set up the proper backup. If my entire application was done, I can take the data from my database itself. I am not managing the database. Database is managed by themselves. Okay. So these are the NoSQL and NoSQL database, cache, message queues, DNS, CDN. Each cloud provider has the DNS and the CDN and the load balancer. So this is the IAM admin. Next one is the secret manager. Is nothing but what are the more sensitive data you can keep it in the secrets. Okay. Next one is the IAC and the monitoring, logging. Next one is the container registry. Okay. So container registry is a bit important. So I am telling. So if you want to run one particular container, what you need for that in the Docker file. If you want to run one container, what you need for the image? How are you going to create the image? Using Docker file. Once you created the image, so you have to run the application. Where you are going to keep storing your image? That's the two way. One is the Docker Hub. If you are storing the Docker Hub, you can able to control that is a public or private. Okay. But instead of that, each cloud provider they have the registry. So what are the images you want to keep? It's not only for the Docker images, you can keep some other images as well. You can store the image to the registry. From the registry to your application can able to create a container. So that means your application will run. Okay. So I will show that one. Okay, the entire flow. Next one is a CI/CD, nothing but continuous integration and deployment. Next one is the VPC. Okay, VPC also pretty important. So VPC is nothing but this is a private communication, like how you can able to control the network. Like this, like I have the two, I take up two VMs. Okay, can I able to communicate between the two machines? Cloud is it's possible, but based on your config, you have to put both two machines in the same network. Then you can able to communicate. There is a two networks. Like one is the private and public network. Based on that, you can do that. If you are doing the put in the same network, you can able to access via private IP itself. Okay. If whoever connecting to this router, I can able to access your computer. So that time private IP only will be communicated, not a public IP. Okay. So these are the major key things we have to know. Just how they are mapped into the both providers. Okay. Apart from that, nothing else. Okay, yeah, let's come to the compute services. So we have started from the virtual machines, right? So here also, like I start from the virtual machine. Why? Because think, if you want to deploy, if you want to run, don't think in the deployment, keep in here. If you want to run the application, what are the major things you need? What are the prerequisites? You need a machine. In that machine, OS should be booted. In that, what are the dependencies you need, like a JDK or JRE or a JVM, what are the things you need, you have to put that. Then only you can able to run your application top of that, right? So same thing here, first one is the machine. So whenever if you are going to any cloud providers, first is always is a machine solution, okay? So yeah, is it visible? So actually I am doing in the GCP, okay. So this is the virtual machine configuration. So this one I already showed to you guys. So this is the name of your virtual machine. So we initially built the industry pair, right? So it's already available here. So you can choose the region, which region you want. I am going to deploy in the US or Europe. Which country you want, or else Asia. Like Asia is come under our things. Like I can deploy in Delhi or Mumbai. Which one is nearest to me? I can choose the Delhi. So zones you can keep it anyone, or else Asia, South Sea. These are the zones, okay. So you can do that. They will tell what is the cost per month what you are going to use. That is a mission. First I choose the region and the zone. That is an important thing. Next I am going to choose the which type of model you want. That means you have the 2 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM, or else you need a 8 GB, or else how it differs. How many CPU you need? Like this is easy to start the basic things low, and N2 is a bit balanced on the performance based. So based on your application you can choose that. So what is my current things I choose? I choose the mini one. I can go to the small also. So small is nothing but 0 to 5.5 to 2 CPUs. So that means one shared one shared core. Next one is a 2 GB memory. So you can allocate the how much disk you want. You can do that. So this is some advanced things. This is not required initially. So this is the machine configuration. You can do that. Next one is the OS and the storage. Which OS you want? Okay. Now I just take my storage as a 10 GB. Okay. Storage is different, your RAM is different, okay, fine. So here I am booting the which image I am booting, Debian. So that means Ubuntu OS I am changing. If you want to change the image also, you can change it. So this is the low. So this is the low level things. You can choose some other things also how you want, okay. This is the container as of not needed. Next one is come to the data protection. How you are going to back up your data. So once you deploy your application to the cloud, so how you are going to take the backup your data. So maybe you are choosing your database into the cloud providers, right? How you are going to take the backup plan. So you can able to set up. So backup plan, how the snapshot going to be, when it will has to do, like every day night 2 o'clock is differs. It's up to you, okay. Next one is the networking. Networking is nothing but you can able to manage. Now initially I told, right, initially why you are creating the virtual machines. If you are creating a true machine, how you are going to make the communication. Or else this machine can able to accept the HTTP requests as secured or non-secured connections. Okay. So these are the major things. Next one is this is not a big deal. Next one is the security. So this security only the VPC coming to the picture. Like VPC is nothing but how you are managing your entire networking. Okay. So both things is come under the networking and security. Okay. So you can able to access or not. So now the cost was ready. So because I choose to the low model, so it's around $15 per month. So hourly like a 0.02 cents like that. Okay. So this is the way if you want to create the cloud virtual machines. Okay. This is for the virtual machine how you can able to create. So as I mentioned, how I am clicking initially the small and extra large, it depends. Okay. This is like same as compute cloud also. Elastic compute cloud also look like same only, but they will infra like the UI will be bit different, but the core thing will be same. You have to choose a machine, you have to choose a OS. Once you create, that will be automatically machine will be created, OS will be booted. You can use that machine, okay, directly. That is the first thing. Okay. Next one is the auto scaling. So auto scaling is nothing but auto scaling is nothing but like you want to deploy the, like, so let's come to some CI/CD as well. You are deployed the application version 1. Now you want to roll back to the version 2. How we are going to do that? We have to build the image locally. Then we have to push that image to artifact registry. From that registry only I have to able to create the container. That container running on the virtual machine. Right? This is the entire flow. Now, if I'm just to build a new image, if I push to the artifact registry, that it has to pick automatically, it has to run the application. How it is going to happen? So initially you have to set up that template. So this is the things like that. If you are keep versioning, okay, let me show that one also. Okay, this each things is one of my services. Like here I have the AA service, right? So in this AA service, if I open, there will be the multiple versions. Okay, these are the versions. So here I kept the tag as a release. Okay, most of the guys what will do, this tag they will keep the versioning V1, V2, V1.0, 1.2, they can keep it. But if you want to do the automation, so you can go with the version 1, version 2, version 3. Why? Because whenever if you are building the image, I don't know what is the last image version. So what I can do, I can keep the same common tag like it. That means the latest release. If you keep the tag like that, once you push to the image to your cloud in your artifact registry, what we have the one more package actually that is called as the Night Watch, Cloud Watch. They will tell us a Cloud Watch. What that will do, every time that it will check your artifact registry. If any new image came, why? Because in this each image have some hash. It will check the hash. What is the current hash I am using? If it is any latest things came, it will analyze, it will pick it from there, it will deploy your application latest version. Okay. So next one is the networking. So networking is a bit important part. I am telling. If you are deploying your application into the cloud, okay, in a virtual machine, but you are not allow your application to outside that virtual machine, you can't able to access. Our main goal is we have to access via internet, right? So, but if you are managed your entire things is networking, if you are misconfigured the network, you can access nothing. So there is a two kind of rules actually. And if you are taking the AWS, there is a two kind of rules. One is the inbound, another one is the outbound. So inbound in the sense like how you are managing the request, how it is going to redirect. Can I able to access the request? Can I able to process the request? Those everything is come under those rules. So outbound is nothing but like how the response here to go outside. Okay. So in the networking main things is like it start from the virtual private cloud. So it will be like that. Anyone knows what is meant by this one? So this is the IP. So this is IP4 address. Okay, IP4 address. So anyone knows this? What is meant by 16? Sometimes they will keep the 32 state code. What is purpose? Yeah, if I change this one to 32, what going to happen?
IP streams.
Anyone knows what is meant by CAD here? I can keep 8, I can keep 16, I can keep 32. What is the mean CAD here? This is my IP address. Okay, so here this is my IP. Okay. So in this IP, like if I am just requesting, if anyone requesting from this particular IP, so this is my private, this is my public IP of this router. Okay. And any time if I am accessing from via this machine to my cloud. So now I am showing this G cloud, right? If I want to access any one of the virtual machine, if I am going to access via my local this computer, the machine first will receive my IP. So first it will check if I set up the any security. Okay, so I have a few virtual machine I showed, right? If I want to access any one of the virtual machine without adding my IP into that, I can't able to access. So while adding the IP in that networking, so back to the concept. Okay, so while I'm adding my IP to my VPC, okay, so this is the rule management guy actually. So that time I have to keep this CADR. So what is mean by CADR is nothing but what is the range IP can able to allow. If I kept the 0, like all the IPs I kept as a 0, not instead of the 10, if I kept as a 0.0.0/0 also, anyone can access my virtual machine or anyone can access my the application. So here anyone can access my application but not my virtual machine. So like if I deployed anything, I give the link. What you guys going to do? You are going to access the link only. You can't be able to access my virtual machine. That means you can't be able to access my laptop. But here if you are not set up properly, everyone can access your virtual machine. Okay. So here as a we have to bit cautious about that. This is the things actually. CADR is a range. So if you are added the IP, if you are update this CADR as a 16, how many IPs can access your machine? Around 65.5 thousand IPs can able to access your virtual machines. That is the possibilities of the combination. Okay. If I kept as a 32, no one can access. That same exact same IP has to come. There is no range. Okay. So that is the actual thing. So it's a VPC start from like that.
So
Next.
if CIDR decreases, the number of people access increase.
Yeah. So if I kept only 8, this number of range will be increased. Okay. So like how we are calculating the bit formula, same like what is the possibilities of combination, it can able to allow into that machine. That's it.
Is it exponential in terms of increasing the scale, or is it linear? I mean, if I make it 8, it will be double, or it will increase exponentially?
It will be double. It will be I increase the ranges. If I make it as a 32, it won't increase. That is a possibility because there is a 32-bit ID. Okay, so 32-bit ID maximum can only 1 ID. So it won't be more than that. If it decrease as a 16 as a capacity, so it will be more possibilities can access. Okay, rest of the 16 as a public. I restricted only 16. Rest of the 16 outside of my hand. So rest of the 16 can able to access my IP. If I reduce to 8, rest of
Twice.
like that. So it won't be twice, it will be more than that. It won't be like kind of twice, like some formula will be there. It will be come under that circumstance.
You mentioned how 10.0.0.0/0 means anybody can access.
Not anybody. So there also like if that time if you are change this IP has the range. So here I start the range 10 point, right?
Yes.
If I start from 0.0.0, I added the /0. That time anyone can access. If I make this one as a 0 also, like if I have starting initial IP, it has some range. So initial range start from this 10. If this numbers is changing, anyone can access it. Like that means if I kept these three numbers as a 0, if anyone come up with the initial as a start 10, after that anything is coming, they can able to access. Those IP come under this one. But if I kept to the 8, it will be reduced. If I kept to the 0, it will be more possibilities. That's it. If I kept a 32, no one can access except this exact IP. Like that. So how it actually segregated as a subnet. So most of the time we'll use 24-bit here. So this is for the subnet. There is two things. One is a private subnet, another one is a public subnet. So what is the major difference between the private and public subnet? So how you are defining the rule within the machine, within the virtual machine. Like in the cloud provider, you created another virtual machine. How you describe that rules within the machine? Okay. But if it is a public subnet, is nothing but outside of that. Okay. These are the major difference between the private and the public subnet in the VPC. Okay. So this is the major things in the. So this is the calculation actually. So 16 in the sense like 65,000 IPs, 24 in the sense only 256 IPs only can able to access. 28, 16 IP, if I increase as a 32, only one IP can access. So next one is the routing table. How the routing table you have to do. Like whenever if anyone coming with this IP where I have to route this particular virtual machine or not. So actually whenever if you are going to cloud, you start from the firewall. Okay. You have to set up the proper firewall rule. From that firewall rule, it comes to the VPC network. From the VPC network only, it will route your actual virtual machine. You can't directly access your virtual machine. Okay, that is not possible. So this is the internet gateway, NAT and Backend. So these things I already explained, like how the request is going to my router, what are the IPs it allocated, how many IPs is begin the NAT. So everything I explained. This is things already we knows. This is a security group. Yeah, this is also one of the important things. So in the security group, so in security, what is the major purpose of security group? These are the all these things that I am explaining, right? Networking and security group. This mainly for the how you are going to communicate between the each machine. That is the actual thing. Like you have the for if you are creating the database in the cloud provider only. Like in the cloud provider only, I take a rental as a PG admin. Like sorry. In the Postgres, if I take the Postgres database, how can I connect my, why? Because my application running in a virtual machine. In that same cloud only, how can I access to my database? So I have to, what I have to do, I have to create a common network, put that both machines in the same network, I have to set up the proper security group. If any request coming via this machine, you have to allow to this particular VM. So there it's everything considered as one of the separate component, not everything is the same. If it is a same cloud providers also, if you are not set up the proper networking, you can able to access your databases. Okay. So these are the actual things. So what are the features is available, level, state, and the rules. How the things is going to be like that. So these are the major things like an inbound rule, outbound rules. Initially I told, right. So can I be able to allow this request or not? Can I need to allow or not, like that. So these are the major things available in the security groups. So next one is a load balancer. So ALP is this is like in the AWS they are mentioning as a ALP load balancer. So that means ALP is nothing but application load balancer. Okay, how your application load balancer going to work? Can you able to process the network? Like in the load balancer also you can add some security layers. How it is going to be? So you have deployed the two applications. Let's assume front end and back end. Okay, here for backend network, no need to make it visible to the public. So that means no one need to access my backend. Front end only can able to communicate. Other things no need, right? So while you are setting your rules itself in the load balancer also you can set up the rules. So if any request coming via my front end application, you can apply. Outside of any application is coming, like over the internet they are directly typing from the postman or thunder type that they are trying to access my endpoint API, they can't be able to access. I can set up the rules. This anyone coming with this particular API naming, then only you can allow this particular my backend service. Or else don't allow it. You can set up the rules. Okay. So these are the actual major things as features like path based routing, host based routing. So in the host based routing itself, you can able to easily block it. So like that means front end application if you have hosted some particular domain like industry pilot.nsql.da, backend I can set it up. If any request coming from this particular domain, you allow it, or else don't allow it. So if I am requesting from the postman, how it is going to come in the domain? Domain is definitely going to come in via this public IP or some other domain, postman domain only. So that time they will directly ignore. So not even your request went until the control layer. It's not even touched your application. Before that only will directly neglect it. Okay. So like this here you can give the weightage also. Like if anyone coming with this API path, you have to go there. Else after that API path, if any other path was there, you have to go here. Like that you can be able to set up the weightage. Okay. So these things until unless you guys take a cloud subscription, you experience it won't be easily understood. So but as much possible I will explain via this cloud providers also. Okay. So you guys take a GCP, that will be free only. You guys try it out, okay? But AWS they are not providing, but GCP they are providing the 300 credits. You can use it. Maximum it is allowing 3 months, I guess. Okay. So NLP is also like that. How you are networking, you are managing. What are the IPs we have to allow? So these are the controls protocols. Like which one is the best? Like those things you come under the NLP. Next one is like health check. Health check is nothing but your application is running or not. Every time you can also you can set up some trigger also. Like if in any time my health check got failed, I can able to send a mail to my administrator. Like you deployed your application, you can able to get the mail. You can set up the application like that. Yeah. Next one is the DNS. So DNS I already explained. So DNS is nothing but domain naming system. Okay. So it's all the machine definitely have the some IP. So if I am requesting anything from this machine, it's going with this router IP because router only can able to communicate with the internet. I can't do that. So it's definitely going with the IP. So what you can do? So don't give your IP. So whenever you are giving your IP to your any users, if you are deployed your application, that is you can't make it as a secure communication. You can make it as only HTTP only, not AS. You can't add. If you want to add AS, you need a domain. So you can buy the domain. From the domain only, you can able to set up these kind of things. Okay. So here we have some record type. Yeah, let me check if I have the any. I have
one quick question. Like previously in the security part, you showed us how many layers there are and how, irrespective of what you are trying to access, you will not touch the main application or the virtual machine. You will just access till the outer layer itself. So if such a layered security processes are existing, so how are hackers able to bypass this?
Definitely you missed any one of this. If you keep taking one of the loophole, you can do that. That is maybe our mistakes only. Bypass things anyone can do that. If you are the master, no one can. He is the master guy. He is the paid hacker. No one can. Definitely the another guy will be there. So how they are good at? They good at the basics. So that they will get the clear idea how the IP rotation was happening, how they set up the rules. Everything is structured only. Like apart from that, nothing else. Definitely you are going to follow the rules. If any one loophole they are founding. So can anyone tell why the Java or some other language continuously keep updating their versions? What is the reason?
Security patches.
Security. Definitely they have some loophole. Initially they are building, they missed something. After that they found something, they can use it. But before they are fixing it, if the hackers has major work for that one, they can do simple. That is not a big deal for them. But that is not that much easy. Not easy things. You can add some security so they can easily breach it. So definitely, if you until unless like how the anyone knows what is meant by algorithm. So algorithm definitely won't crash. So that means algorithm or your code, nothing won't to crash until unless you messed up. So what is mean by that? So algorithm is working on the math. So that means if we are giving the two values, what is that work? It will do the addition and give it to the output. That's it. But what is the input you are giving? That is mandatory. Algorithm just to do that work what we set up. Algorithm or your code never crash. Based on your input, how you are trying to break that one, based on that only your code will be broke. It's now I'm damn sure algorithm never broke and your code also. Why I'm telling is won't broke. What you told, what you initially feed the set of instruction, it will work based on that. It will never change that. Okay, so if you are doing some formulas, we are giving some values. So formulas always working that same structure only. If you are input stage, output will be changed, but the formula never changed. So like that, your code also. But in the real world scenario, how that is happening, they will have some duplicate data. So like that means, let me give some simple example. Anyone know SQL injection? 1 minute.
Like why I had this doubt is when I newly joined my graduate program in JNTU in 2015, undergraduate program. Then there was one of my classmates, a senior of mine, who was an ethical hacker, hacked the UIDA of Indian government to show them their loophole.
Yeah, we can do that. So definitely loophole will be there. You want to find so that is the things. So everything came from the basics only. So take example like if I'm adding the one more account here, okay. So what I'm giving here, I think this. Okay. So how the login form going? You definitely you take any other things.
So if somehow you manage to hack a website, for example, and bypass the layers and
They can
enter,
able to easily track.
yeah, you can track, that is okay. But can they alter the code? If they,
So how you are secure your application is different.
so once you, I mean, once he is able to alter the code, he can bypass what your security is
First,
already.
initial bypass needed, right?
Yes.
Breaking the firewall is not an easy thing. So we are discussing like that. Breaking the firewall not an easy thing. Definitely, that is messed with the peoples who build the system. Mistake for there. It's not a code. It's not a algorithm. It's not a math issue. Math is always perfect. So most of the 99.9% math is perfect. But how you are manipulating that math, how you are manipulating the formula is a tricky thing. Okay, I think here I log out. I will show the SQL injection, then you guys will get some idea. Okay. So here what I have to do, I have to give my mail, right? So after that I have to give the password. If I am doing this mail and password, what begin this they will do? So can anyone tell the query? Just to tell this query, how the query going to be. So definitely no need all the part, just write the where condition. So definitely against they had definitely store your password with some hash key. So
Where the parameters match.
this is an encrypted password. This is your direct input. What you are giving, right? They are definitely begin to say they will validate like that. So now you want to become the hacker. So for simple example, I can do that. So what majorly hacker will do? They will give the things like that. This is one of the SQL injection is not that much hacking thing. If I did, what will happen? This condition will be true or false.
You take it as a one.
It won't be while you are running the ORM, it won't take it as a entire as a single string. So how it is going to be considered this time? So they can able to pass like this. Then what is mean by this time my condition true or false? Then definitely I can breach the password. So what you have to do? So this is not a SQL mistake. Their work is if you are doing the condition, they will check it. Is it clear, right? They will mainly check it, but they want to how you are manipulating the things. So whenever if you are raising the password input box, you have to validate. Any SQL injection was there. Mistakenly, if you added that one directly to your SQL var condition, they can pass the. If you are most of like I think last while I am initially learning this SQL, I tried some one or two website logins. They are simply allowing me actually. I tried the password as a 1 equal to 1. That time they are simply allowing. Actually, it's happened. After that, like 1 or 2 days back, they are just directly blocked that. I can use that application anymore. So like that. So this is the hacking. So hacking is nothing but how you are able to manipulate the system. That's it. Now you understood. Okay.
So every time you this happens, in the log it will be a red flag, right, for them.
They can take it. But how it is going to be red flag? It is condition wise true. What is there going to be red flag? It seems to look like normal only.
No, the condition is true, but like when you mentioned you used it, the injection for to log in once or
That
twice.
is their system, like how they are managed. If they don't add any alert system or something else, how they find this is the unusual activity, this is the proper normal activity only from my router. But if they want to track, they can easily track me. That is possible actually. So this is the SQL injection. Like that, in your entire program, whatever the code you are returning, think about how many issues going to be. That is a loophole. So hacking is telling sometimes is a big deal, but it's nothing a big deal. Start from the basics. If you know the basics very well. So like this SQL injection I did right. So my major, this is my entire input. So here I no need to give the correct password. If I am giving this one also, its application will allow. Until unless I am not properly handled while I am checking. Before I am giving this query to my database, I have to properly handle this one. If I consider this entire thing as a single string, they can't be able to do that. Simply there will be false, they can't be able to log in my system. So this is how you are managing. So this is for some top level, this is to depth level until reach your code. But nowadays reaching your application is a difficult. So you have to cross the firewall. Firewall, after that networking layer will be there. After that, if you are adding any other security layer also, you can do that. After that, load balancer coming to the picture. API gateway was there. They have to cross this much things. That is not too easy. After that only they can able to touch the application. If they want to touch the application also, each API authenticated. Okay, each API they have to give particular token what I generated. If it is everything is wrong, I will directly block. If any one unusual activity I found, I can alert the system. Okay. This is not required. Next one is the storages. Okay, so until now we mainly focused on the how your machines and how your networking going to be work. So next one is the storage. Okay, there is a two kind of things. If you are using the cloud provider, you can keep your database cloud itself, or else you can keep the your database in the Docker Compose file itself. It's up to you. But if any time if a virtual machine got crashed, it won't be happen. But if any possibilities it is went down, you can able to access your database. If you are kept your database in the Docker Compose file, but you are keep in that one in the cloud providers, there is a possibilities of losing your data too less. I can't make sure I can't make sure it's a assured one, definitely don't lose. There is a possibilities if everything gone means gone, but they can have the multiple backup server. But I can't do that much things. Every time I can't pull the data, I can store my local disk. How many local disk I can store? That is not possible. But if we are using their storage system, that will be too efficient. Okay. So this is for the database I am telling. It's not only the database. Like in the cloud, you can store the files. Like if you are taking any examples, in your application managing the files, so you can directly store the files into your DB tables. That will be more it will consume more data. So that time you can store your file to cloud bucket. From that bucket you can just store the path. This is what where this file was available. Like that you can simply do that. So in the GCP and AWS. So AWS they is called as S3. S3 is nothing but just a one bucket. So I hope already you guys knows what is meant by bucket. So this is a simple storage service. They called us AWS will be called like that. In the cloud GCP they will directly tell us a cloud storage. Okay. So its major concept what I explained is a bucket. So bucket is nothing but global and unique name. So I can show that. So these are the buckets I have. So inside the bucket I am managing how I am managing the local file folder, like that I can able to manage. So as of now these are the buckets I have. So in my GCP I can able to manage files. So if I am opening these files, so how I am managing, like that the files will be there. So what are the things was there, like that. So that is for the things for the bucket. So bucket is nothing but collection of object it can able to contain. That is on root folder kind of things. Okay. Object in the sense each file what you are storing in that bucket, that is known as the object. Okay. This is the namespace. Most of the time don't use the space and those things. That will be one good while you are accessing. Sometimes it will show some errors. Okay. Why? Because sometimes you are giving the space, sometimes it will be auto mappings for space, some percentage simple will be added. So that time while you are accessing the exact file, there is a mismatch going to happen. So most of the time while you are storing the file name, don't allow the spaces in there. Okay. So these are the storage classes, how you are going to manage that one, accessing pattern, frequent access. Yeah, actually this is cost. If I'm storing the each file, there will be the cost will be there. Okay. If I'm storing this file, how much time I am accessed. Here you can see that. Size created storage plus cost modified public access. So here I can give, can I able to access the publicly or not? So if I give the publicly, if I share the link, anyone can access this file. Okay. So I think here one more list will be there. So I think I disabled that column. Here I can add that column actually. So here I didn't add that column, I guess. Okay, so one column will be there. Like if you are whenever if you are creating a new bucket, that time you have to choose like how your bucket going to be. This is majorly for the read and write purpose, or mainly you are just to store the object. You will read some like not frequently. Occasionally only you are accessing. Based on that, the bill will be generated. What are the things you are using? Everything you have to pay the bill. But compare your local machine, you are buying the hardware, that will be cheaperly. Okay.
So, like in cloud platforms, pricing is based on both storage capacity and number of usage.
Everything. They will charge per minute, per hour also. How much you are using, for based on that you have to pay the amount. That's it. So these are the file storage, what are the protocols they are managing. So these are the bit depth level. So how we are just keeping in mind simply, bucket is nothing but you can able to store the files. So each file is known as the object. That's it. Okay. Next one is the database service. What I explained previously is like a database service. They will provide the databases. Okay, if I'm opening the GCP, they will provide some database. These are the database. In 1 minute, I can show that. So I can choose the database. Actually, initially they are giving, these are the databases. Initially like MySQL, Postgres, what are the version they are giving. Then the SQL Server and the AliDB also it's available. Okay. So it's depends based on your need. You can use it. Okay. So these are the database like it's like that the AWS also. What are the database they are providing? If you are using the database their side, you have to set up the proper rules and everything. How I am going to access that one, how that's going to work, everything you have to set up properly. Okay. Standards are required. So these are the databases available: Firestore, Bigtable. Okay. Next one is the caching. Actually, most of the time caching you can use the your like your application layer itself. You can use it. Don't use the Redis in that. Cloud providers, they are also providing the Redis, okay, but it will be a bit costly compared than your local management system. So once you got your cloud provider, you have set up something, you have deployed some application into that, definitely it won't be understandable. But at top level I am telling how it is going to be. You have definitely for managing the cache system, most of the time we are using the Redis cache. So there's a two kind of caches. Some things you can locally do that. Another one is you can keep it as some particular place as a known as a like kind of database. That is also another tool like that. You can store the key and value pairs. Like this user ID, this is the entire user data. You can store it. While accessing, it will be faster. There is two things. You can able to directly use the Redis provided by the cloud providers. Else you can use by yourself. How it is mean by yourself? You can add the Redis image into your Docker Compose file. Whenever you are up your application, you can up the Redis also. And because in the Redis data lost, there is no big deal. Because I might make primary database in the cloud, I can take the backup from there. Okay. So what are the caching strategies? So what we already go through like lazy loading, write through, write behind. So TTL based eviction. So these things already I go through. So next one is the warehouse. This also we won't use much. This is not needed. Next one is the identity and access security. Okay, so that's what I initially explained. Okay, so in the GCP, like this is come under the IAM admin. So IAM admin nothing but I took a on cloud provider. Like if any one of you guys bought the cloud GCP, if you have the 300 free credits, we can able to share your other guys also. If you add the email to other guys, what are the access they what are like in the cloud there is a plenty of services also there. I think. Okay, these are all the services what they are providing: Kubernetes, BigQuery, monitoring, billing. So these are the entire services. These are the pinned things I did, but more than this, so much services was there. Okay, so we can able to control. This user I gave only for the database. This user I gave the virtual machine. In that only I am only give the access for the virtual machine reading, not creating the new one. Like that you can able to manage. So those everything is come under the IAM admin. So this IAM admin will be same all the providers. Okay. So we can initially start from the users. As an individual users also you can do that, or else we can create a group. You can assign the rules for the group. Assign the rules to who are in that group. Like who are the users in that group. They can able to get that privileges. Okay. Roles is nothing but like I can give the top level. Like I showed initially, right? I am the editor of my entire GCP, so I can do whatever I want. But I am not the owner. I can do some owner privileges like a billing management. Those things I can't do that. So like that, how your role is going to be. Policies also nothing but is the permissions. So what are the things you can able to access? Users is a single layer. It's a collection of users. You can add these policies to the groups, and the roles is nothing but is a top level. What is this user role currently going to be? Editor or viewer or owner? Okay, these are the top 3 roles.
So the cloud also has GRC, governance, risk and compliance.
I didn't get it exactly.
I mean, in SAP we have GRC, governance, risk and compliance. I mean, if a user has these many roles, there is a risk factor wherein he can bypass the security patch and do whatever he wants. Like that you have in the IAM as well.
Yeah, like that one. So you can able to set up properly. If I give the editor access, I can do anything. So that is the top level things. So based on the role also, like in gRPC, how the role based RAP, I think, yeah, RBAC actually. So how that role management system will work, this is a top level. Like if you are giving a top level role, it will override the other policies what you mentioned. It will work like that.
So names may change, but the pattern is the same.
Pattern was same. So like here a storage system is called as a cloud storage. AWS they called as a S3. So everything is name changing, but beginning the core concept was same. So these are the policy types, like identity based, resource based, permission boundary, like that what I mentioned. Like this particular mail ID, I give some particular access only. I won't give all the access. They can able to only access my artifact registry. They can able to run the SQL in my cloud. They can manage my VM. After that, I won't give any other things. Like they can able to manage my Kubernetes also. The final role going to be just a viewer only. If I am giving any top of the role beyond this viewer, it will override. So like that, I can able to control. So these are the service accounts initially. I just give only 3 roles. They can won't be crash more than that. I think here I can give I can able to edit the access. Here if you want to add, I can add some other roles.
The reason like I am getting these many doubts is similar concept I went through SAP and all. So in that we have a transaction code called SAP all. You give it to high profile admins only. So you can do access any and all systems production or quality control.
Behind the scene they are following the same concept.
So
but
cloud control also has that.
Cloud control also has. You can able to control it. If you take any organization things, you are paying the money. It's organization ID. You can able to control how many users using your cloud. So cloud is nothing but what are the developers only you are going to give the access. Each developer can only able to view the things or edit the things or able to create the things. These are the major roles. So in that, what are the resource also they can able, they only access my VM, or else they can able to access my database, or else they can access my log management system. Like that, you can able to easily control. So IAM is always the best practice initially. So definitely you keep with that. If you are sharing the any access to your any other users or your colleague, your friend, always keep some IAM admin properly. Okay. So this is the GCP IAM. So initially I showed things from the AWS. This is a GCP. Okay. Next one is the secret manager. So in the cloud also the secret manager will be there. So secret manager is nothing but how you are managing the secret values. So nothing but how your database password, your mail ID password. Like if you want to send the mail from your application, you have to set up the SMTP configuration. So you need a mail and password. So those things you can keep it their secrets. So if they hacked my application also, they can hack these secrets because by default cloud providers have the most security on that. So after the firewall and those things, they also have some additional layers of security in there. You can't directly access it. Okay, until unless without your application, you can't able to access it. If a hacker crash your application, if any unusual activity found from cloud providers, they will simply block. They can't able to access the secret keys. Okay. So and also one more thing. So whenever if you are sharing any your password also, right, you can put it in the secret and you can share that link. For that link, you can able to create a dummy password. You can send that link, you put your password, you can able to see the secret. So do instead of the directly sending the WhatsApp message, because that is also encrypted. End-to-end encrypted was that if in middle, if no one can't open, if anything, anyways, who knows, it's able to open our things. Okay, security always is a big deal. How we are managing the data, so it's simple. Okay. So these are the secrets. Is always good practice. You can keep your things in the secret. There will be the, if it is costly, also no issue. Security is a major things for all the application. Because if it is only your data, it's not a big deal. But if you are managing application, your client's data means definitely is a big deal. So everything is based on the trust. Okay, if a trust factor gone, no one going to use your application. Even if you are give the offers, also no one going to use. Like in India, most of the trust factors, you can take any data brand, you guys blindly trust those guys because those guys have more than the 100 years of experience in all the fields. Okay, so like that we will guys directly blindly trust their like take automobile, cars, and the steels, everything you can blindly trust. If you are not in the trustworthy, no one going to use your application like that. So how much security you have? After that, if you launch your application in US or UK, you have to get some security certificate also. If you are showing your user mail, right, you can't directly show your mail. That is violate the security. So you have to mask that. You have to show that. You can't directly show that. So it's based on which domain your application created. Your application mainly for the healthcare, you have to get some ISO C2 certificate, like a HIPAA. So those kind of certificate you guys need to get that. Okay. Next one is the encryption. So encryption is nothing but how you are encrypt your username and password, how you are storing those. Okay. So next one is the container and orchestration. So today let's close until this container and orchestration. I will explain this. After that, we will see the rest of things next session. So containers and orchestration is nothing but initially I explained the Docker file and Docker compose file. So that is actually the container and orchestration. Orchestration is nothing but how we are managing all the application. So we have the particular services, each services how we are managing. So that is known as the orchestration. So containers, like if you are, initially I showed the initial demo. If I am making my industry pilot application to the Docker image, I am building the Docker image. After that, from that I am running the my application, right? So that is actually containerized things. Okay. So how you can manage this thing in the cloud? You can do that actually. Once you take the machine, in that machine you have to install the Docker. From that you can do that. Like let me tell the flow. Okay. And okay. So today I will tell the flow how your entire application deployment going to be. But there is a multiple ways also there. So this is one particular way I am telling. Okay. So actually start from the artifact registry. So artifact registry is nothing but initially I explained. So you build your Docker image. Where are you going to keep those images? If you are keeping your local, you can't run the application in the server. So if you are, so this is my one of the Docker registry. So this is in a cloud provider. This is called as a artifact registry. If I build my image, if I push my image to this artifact registry, from this I can able to run my application. Okay. So these are my Docker images. Okay. From these images, how I am going to run the application? I am going to the VM. So each I can show the VM. So I have some security powers. I can show the VM how inside is going to be. But inside the VM is nothing but you can able to. This is VM is nothing but just a normal computer. So you can able to access from your computer to your this artifact registry. From that image, I can able to run the container. Okay. If you are running your container, the application was started. That is the whole flow. Yeah, initial setup like in your local, you can able to create some bash file. From the bash file, you can set up the proper thing. This is the destination. Whenever if I completed my Docker image, it has to push to my artifact registry. From artifact registry, I have to pull in my inside my virtual machine. From the virtual machine, if you have the image, I can easily create the containers. Okay, so this is how the entire flow going to be. So this is like a CI/CD also coming to the picture. How you are automating this own stuff, building by your own image. Whenever if any merge or any commit happens in this particular branch, you can able to trigger the action. I hope you guys know the GitHub action. The GitHub action you can set up. So you have to do the Docker build and push the image to this particular artifact registry. You have to give some rules and authentication. You have to initial setup needed. Then you can do everything. It's not automated way. Yeah, these are the whole things actually. So here I kept my document as two places, like two kind of things. One is for GCP, another one for the AWS. Okay. So here in GCP I am telling us the artifact registry. So in the Amazon, in the AWS, they will tell us elastic compute registry. Okay. So there will be differ. So they will give some naming difference. That's it. Apart from the nothing else. GCP they are telling us artifact registry directly. Okay, so this is your like if you are creating your compute cloud, what kind of type it should be? It should be Fargate or EC2. I see EC2 is nothing but this is the virtual machine. This is the serverless things you can able to deploy. Okay, the serverless containers. Fargate is a serverless containers. You can deploy from the image itself. Or also from the image also you can deploy inside the machine also. It will be a bit costly to compare than the Fargate. Okay. So here also the same networking concept coming to the picture. Okay. So from next class onwards, I will explain detailed things about the Kubernetes. What is the purpose of how the things. Already I explained the parts. What are the major things available in that. I will see again what is the detailed things available in that. Okay. So I just have one request. You guys just to make sure get Google account. Okay. If you take that account, they won't charge initially, free only. You set up some reminder or something within 2 months or 3 months, it has the maximum time. Once 3 months was done only, the bill will be generated. So you can cancel the subscription, it won't be happen anything. Okay. You take that and try to create a virtual machine, try to deploy your application to that cloud provider. That will be you will get some idea. From that, if you guys any doubts, you just reach me. I will help you out. Okay. So this is the things for today. So let me wrap up. What is the other things we mainly go through? So until the orchestration, like cloud fundamentals, I go through. After that, what are the compute services we have? Then we go through the networking. So what is the importance of networking? What is the purpose? Everything we go through. Next one is the storage and database system. So storage is nothing but buckets. Database we already know. So identity access, like how you are giving to your access to other people's, like in your cloud providers. Containers and orchestration, how you are going to manage your application. So that is containers and orchestration. So infrastructure as a code and the CI/CD, those things only we are pending. We will see in the next session. Okay. So it won't be take more than maximum 2 sessions only. So everything will be completed. The system design also earlier we completed, and I hope you guys gather some clear idea. So now if you are complete the cloud engineering also, you can able to do all the things. From Java you can write the code, you can create as Spring Boot code. From that you can able to deploy the application into the cloud providers. From that you can able to serve your application to the other peoples. Okay. Okay. Anyone have any doubts?
So, in the real world scenario, as far as cloud is concerned, everybody only talks about Google Cloud, AWS, or some other platforms. But we have our own cloud platforms like Tata's cloud platform, EZO, I believe, and E2E and all that. So why don't why are these not as famous as cloud, GCP or AWS and all? I mean, are they providing something more rather than these?
Because we are giving the update. So if you are not relay with the use, you are not in the market. So anyone, all of you knows the Yashel, right? Yashel Sinkar. How this guy, that is the guy initially dominating the entire networking providers. Okay, so now he is gone. So he has to continuously upgrade and the service. What is the need in the market? They need to know that they have to give that service. If they are not offering the service as a late, no use. If those guys have the services, no one going to use. So everything come under the trust factor only. If you have the trust also, you are not giving the things at that required time, no one going to use.
So like in Tata and E2E companies I mentioned, cloud platforms, they constantly mention that we have integrated AI and ML into the cloud platform and all. How does that work? I mean,
Initial dominating is first is last. First impression is the last. Okay, so how you are managing the things?
I'm not asking about that. Like how, I mean, ML and AI integration into cloud platform, how would that even work? I mean, is it to streamline the data processing movements or?
They will give some automation with that. Nothing else. Like if you are using the GCP, so tomorrow I will show that what are the AI tools they are providing. So here I am using the AI Studio, right, for Google. So how many are you using AI Studio? No one knows that. Amazing. You guys are up to date in the okay. So try to get the AI Studio. So you can able to get the API keys as well. So there are some limitation for the prediction, for embedding. So there is such a things available in the cloud also. Nowadays all the guys providing the AI. So I don't know when the bubble going to blast, but once blast, there is a big thing. But before that, you guys try to stay any one of the place. Because the middle guys, middle level experience, you have the big question mark. So keep in your mind, update day to day. You can able to easily set up. But there is some volatile will be there, but I don't know when the bubble going to blast. But bubble going to blast. 1 minute, I cannot.